Here's the question. What's going on inside the minds of top achievers that cause them to make extraordinary breakthroughs both personally and professionally? My name is Tim Shurr, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the unconscious mind and discover how to transform your biggest dreams into a reality. Welcome to the How to Be Mesmerizing podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to How to Be Mesmerizing. It's Tim Shurr, and we have an amazing guest today. Pam Perry is with us. Pam, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am so delighted that you made time. I know that you're in demand. So for those who may not know who you are, Pam is the millionaire media person. She is the superstar behind a lot of the best speakers out there today. She's the executive publisher for Speaker Magazine, and she's just an expert with 25 years of knowing how to get authors and speakers and entrepreneurs out into the world through her public relations and through training people to be able to deliver when it counts the most. So, Pam, what would you say speakers are struggling with? I mean, obviously, authors, speakers, entrepreneurs are scrambling to get on the internet because most of the live keynotes have been canceled. So how are you helping people to get their message out there now?
It's all about the digital world now. So a lot of experts, authors, and speakers, they were so used to jumping on airplanes, getting on stages, going to networking events, meeting people face to face. Now it's like, I can't really go as often as I like. So one of the things I tell people is really just up your SEO game, up your search engine optimization game, blog more, podcast more, do more YouTube videos. Do a lot of webinars. I mean, everything is all online. So learning how to maneuver and feel comfortable with that is really important. Podcasting is one of the things that in 2020 became like rediscovered, so to speak. Even though we've been podcasting for years, it just became like the thing because people could not, and video podcasting too, people could not get out. So I always tell speakers, if you have a message to share, it doesn't matter where you share it. You can share it on stage, you can share it on podcasts, you can share it on YouTube, you can share it on IG Live, Facebook Live, but long as you keep sharing it and staying consistent.
So that's awesome advice. So when people have been podcasting for a while, or they're making YouTube videos and they feel like, well, that's not working. And so now they're jumping onto Clubhouse. Well, I don't know if that's really working. And they just keep jumping from marketing strategy to marketing strategy without ever really building momentum. And they come to you and they're like, help, where do you start? How do you help them?
That's a good question, Tim, because Clubhouse is new. That's the new shiny object. But what have they been consistent at? And where have they found that their audience is? So I always say, well, where is your audience hanging out? Now, if you are a baby boomer, maybe your audience isn't on Instagram. So doing an IG Live every week, you're probably going to struggle because that's like maybe an age for those in their 20s and early 30s. But if your audience is maybe in Facebook and they're in a particular group on Facebook, maybe you should go there. Maybe it's LinkedIn Live. I love LinkedIn Live. That's where I really like to be. And I get my customers from there because they can read my resume and they know that I'm not just someone that's just overnight. I've been doing PR for major corporations and organizations for years. So I like people to see where my background is on LinkedIn versus like IG or Twitter. You just got like, little cute little sayings, but you can't really read the resume. So I always tell people, I said, stay with something consistent, stay with something that you enjoy. If you are a writer and an excellent writer, then blog really well, become a thought leader and share that out via Twitter, via LinkedIn, put them in different magazines like Speakers Magazines. We're always looking for people to write thought leader type of articles. So I say just be consistent. Clubhouse is cool. I mean, I like Clubhouse. I'm not on it all the time, but some people find it really, really refreshing because they don't feel like they have to be on camera, so they can just talk. But I said, but it's not recorded. So, and then also to the thing about Clubhouse, Tim, is that if you're on Clubhouse and your Instagram and your Twitter is not up to snuff, which is where people will have to contact you if they do enjoy you on Clubhouse and they go to your Instagram and it looks a mess, or they go to your Twitter and you haven't tweeted since 2017, that's going to be a very not good thing. All right. and we have a we have something.
We have a live caller coming in.
I have a live caller here, so I apologize.
Okay. No, that's okay.
I can't figure out how to get that off.
Well, it'll stop. But this is, this is life, right? We deal with stuff like this all the time. So
being in COVID era.
That's right. That's what happens when you're in demand.
Oh my goodness.
All right, there we go. So I'm not even going to edit that out because that's real life, right? And it's not what
dog isn't barking. That's one good thing.
yeah, that's right. Mine either. So that's the new reality when if you're working from home, right? You've got different distractions, and we've got to learn to deal with it. It's not what shows up; it's how we show up. And so I like being raw. I don't edit the podcast out. No matter what happens, that's how it's going to be because it's real and it's authentic. And everybody's trying to be so polished, and the only thing that seems polished is my forehead because it's so shiny. But other than that,
I don't edit mine either. When I do live, LinkedIn Live, which turns into podcast, it is what it is, and that's really, that people enjoy that. So thank you. I
agree. Yeah, absolutely. So I really like what you were saying about, find your platform and stay with it. Instead of, I use this metaphor of, we will go out in the backyard and we want to strike oil. So we dig a 1 foot hole and there's nothing there. So we move a foot over and we start digging another 1 foot hole and there's nothing there. And then by the end of the day, your yard's full of 1 foot holes and you're dirty and exhausted, but you never got anywhere. And what we need to do is pick one hole, and for what you said, maybe it's going to be LinkedIn Live, right? And then you just do LinkedIn Lives. If you're a writer, you just do blogs, and that's all you do. Do it for 6 months or a year. And then after that, pivot or adjust if you don't see the return. But I find that most people are giving it a couple of weeks, if that, and then they stop. Have you seen that as well?
Yes, that is the social media world we live in. We think that we should go viral right away. I did a TikTok and that should go viral. And I remember my daughter's 25. She says, TikTok has just come on the scene. She says, I want to be an influencer on TikTok. I want to go viral. I'm like, you just started learning it. I mean, so that is the reality. People think that they see other people go viral and they want to do that. It happens instantly, but you have to keep going. And I told someone the other day in my ReadySetGo membership, I said, try blogging for 6 months. And they were like, I said, for 6 months. I said, if you do not find your audience, if you do not resonate with an audience, then we can switch. I said, but try for 6 months and let them find you. And that's what I said, be in the SEO world, knowing your search engine optimized keywords where your audience is looking, they find you. That's really where your sweet spot will be. But give it 6 months. Yeah. Don't give it 2 weeks. Give it 6 months and blog 3 times a week. And they were like, oh my goodness. I said, well, you have a book. I said, so you have a book. I said, so you have material. Just embellish it a little bit for your articles. And that's, oh, I can repurpose information. There you go. Yes, repurpose information. You're expert. For expert, you have something to say about it all the time. You should. So people are looking to you for thought leadership. So leave us some thoughts.
Leave us some thoughts. And again, right there, you were just sharing, just kind of streaming, the stuff that people need to do. But it was so powerful what you said. And that's the value of hiring someone like you, because one of the things that you said is you got to find the right SEO terms, right? And then how do you know what terms you should be using and how to insert them into your writing? A lot of times people will blog for 6 months and not find their audience. And it's because every time they show up, they're in a different lane. So one day they're talking about weight loss and the next day they're talking about corporate training. And then the next day they're talking about foods you shouldn't eat or and just jumping all over the place. And so, even though it seems obvious to those of us who have been doing it for a long time and who have been putting all the work in, but for most people, realizing that you should be looking for trends, that you need to be current, that you should be paying attention to your SEO, right? And then pick your lane and stay in it. I mean, that separates everybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can, people say, I'm multi-passionate. You can be multi-passionate. But the thing of it is, start with something first. Let that catch on and grow like a wildfire. Let that grow. Then you can expand to something else. then something else, and then something else. It's like product line extension in marketing, right? So, Crest toothpaste was just Crest. Then they started adding baking soda. Then they started adding scope to it. And I mean, but you still know it's Crest.
Yes.
They just added to it once it caught on. And something is like now there's loyalty to that particular product. Oprah's the same thing. Oprah was a talk show host. Then she became an actress. Then she's a network owner. Now she's doing, but she's still Oprah.
Yeah.
So, but she can extend. What if she would have started out when she did her talk show, 30 years ago or so, and she says, well, you know what? I'm going to do a network, and I'm going to do some films, and I'm going to act in the films. I'm going to produce some films, all in her first year. People are like, I don't really get you. I don't know what you really want to do. So she waited until years later before she started branching off into other areas. And I always tell people, I said, wait before you branch off, because you want to get a base first. You want to get that target on, you call it target audience. You want to get the center of the target first, then you go out.
Yeah.
That's why the target is there in the middle, and then you go out from there. So.
Sage advice. That's a great example. People wouldn't know who Oprah was, perhaps, if you tried to be, everything at once. Right. I learned that when I first started going and pitching the media. They would say, well, what do we call you? What do we put in the Chiron? And I'm like, motivational speaker one day, and then it was corporate trainer, and then it was hypnotist, and then it was, author, and if you get too confusing, then people don't call on you because they don't even know how to refer you or what to, and the media does not like confusion. So we have to keep it simple. So that's really good advice. Yeah. So you've been in the game and helping people at a high level for a long time. Are there a couple of, success secrets that people can use to expand their PR?
One of the main things, and this is probably not just a secret, but just with anything, you need to know who you are, and you really need to respect other people and love other people and network well. And when I say that, it's like, network well, what do you mean? So a lot of times we have within our own network people who could assist us or help us. So usually when I have an author I'm working with, and I said, what is your lowest hanging fruit in terms of people that we can reach out to? What do you mean? I said, so we're going to start your campaign. What is the person that is like the closest to you, or where have you worked before? What was your school? Or give me something that we can start some traction. Or what city are you in? If you're African American, what is the Black newspaper in your city? And they were like, oh, I never thought about that. I said, yes. I said, so give me your school. So maybe we can be the front of your school newsletter. Okay. Give me the Black newspaper. Maybe you could be the front page of that Black newspaper in your city. Give me your best friend. Oh, your best friend happened to be the producer for Sally Jesse Raphael. How about that? How about you give me that name? I mean, so I help people realize their own network and how to leverage it. If they were a good person and they treated everybody well, and people liked them in that arena. Because if people didn't like you in your own arena, in your own network, it's gonna be pretty hard to try to get media in an area where people don't know you, right?
Yes.
So I would tell, well, let me see your network. And so when or your community or your tribe or the people that love you, people who support you, people who invite you to speak at events, I want to know who those people are, because they know other people. And if they like you, then that's how it, and I was telling, I said, public relations is that. The whole word is relationships. So really understanding relationships is so key, being a connector, helping them understand the dots. So I had someone who went to Michigan State University, and they had the Black Alumni Association of Michigan State University, and they were the keynote speaker because I had them really contact them again. I said, you've been a part of this organization for many, many years. You've been given money. Let them know you have a book. They did. And they actually spoke for the Black Alumni Association as a keynote speaker. That's awesome. And then it could grow into maybe the major university of the Michigan State Newsletter. And that's what I said, but start with something that that you can have success with, because one, it makes them feel better that they're getting some traction, getting success right away, and it grows. So once they have the video of them speaking at that organization, then we can send it to someone else, and we can send it to that person. I even had someone go to their high school and actually fill up the auditorium of the school, and they talked about how when they were in that high school, Renaissance High School in Detroit, that they were in the English class, and that's how they really fell in love with words. And they talked about that, and now she has a 3-book deal with Harlequin Romance and
Wow.
everything. And so kids were like, she felt good because she can explain her journey, and then she also inspired other kids that said, like, you know what, I guess this English class, I should pay attention. I really do like it. Maybe one day I can be a writer. So you know, it's that, trying to get people to understand that it's not always like immediately going to be CNN, MSNBC, Oprah. Okay, let's start here, and then, you know, dream national, but start local. Start with the people who enjoy you, people who will support you and endorse you, put you on stages and that sort of thing. So I just help people just really understand that. And I said, that's how it works. I mean, a lot of my media contacts are friends I went to school with. I majored in journalism, and so now they're in the media. So I call on them a lot. And they have other friends, and they know about me, and they tell them about me. And it's a people business. Public relations is a people business. It really is. It's about relationships. Having good stories, obviously, but people business for sure.
I love that. So many people think that marketing is somehow you have to sell yourself all the time, and it's very cold and calculating. And you're saying, no, there's love in there, and you want to be loving and a good person and have kindness and create relationships, which is fantastic, because you don't hear many, you know, PR agents or marketers talk about that. So I love that already.
The secret. It really is. It's the secret. And having other PR colleagues too, because other PR colleagues will have their own sector of media friends that they work with, and I will have them call their media friends for me, for my clients, and vice versa. They have clients, they know that I have good relationships with the media, and then they can call on me for me to introduce them. So it's relationships. It really is. It's not a mystery that, you know, someone is. Sometimes if you can see, well, how did they get into the Wall Street Journal? Okay, well, they were on the same board together, or as a reporter, or maybe they went to an event and they ran into them. Well, obviously COVID, but you know, there's some kind of relationship. It's never just directly cold. Never. I guarantee you, it's never just directly cold. No.
Is there, I mean, you're very connected, and lots of people are always trying to figure out how to connect with you. Is there something that stands out in somebody that makes you say, okay, I want to talk to that person?
Yeah, I can. It's pretty much, I could tell an it factor. Like, you know, we met, and I said, you have the it, right? You have the it. And it's the authenticity. It's the energy they bring. It is their consistency. It's certain things about them that I can just tell where they have the it factor, because it's like you could feel that they have a calling, and they're drawing you in. So I can tell that when I'm speaking with someone, whether they really have the passion for it. It's not about how they look or anything like that, but just the fact that they know that if they don't share this message, they're going to bust, right? It's like that kind of thing. So you can tell that from someone, versus someone that says that you can kind of tell that someone told them you should write a book, and then they do, and they're like, well, they told me I should. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least I tried. I told them it probably wasn't going to work, but I did write the book, but it didn't really sell. I mean, you could tell that they have to be sold on the idea first, because if I'm your publicist, you have to be the person that's going to be the most excited about it. I'm just going to be your hype person and just like, yeah, they can do it. But you have to be excited about it first, because I can't have you go through the door and you're like, well, I showed up. Here are my talking points. No, you should already know your talking points, because you're talking them. You're always, if people believe you in a room with 4 people, you're going to start talking that same talk all the time, no matter where you go. So that's what I always say. You know, you can tell. True. You could really tell. I could tell the it factor with people. You know, I polish them up, you know, in terms of it can really share faster, but I really do see the initial it factor. I remember one time looking at, I had a client, and I had put her on a podcast, and she was the first time going on the podcast, put her on like a podcast. And she was she wrote a book called Learning to Be, and she was on with a psychologist, I believe. And she held that podcast for an hour. The psychologist was just mesmerized, really, from the standpoint that she was so good. And I didn't know how she was going to really come off. I knew the book was good and I knew she could speak, but
Yeah.
for her to hold that whole podcast for an hour, and the psychologist who had done her homework and everything was just really just impressed with this author Juanita, and I was like, wow, she really did good. So eventually she ended up doing like CNN. She ended up doing Good Morning, Good Day LA, Good Day DC. I mean, she did anywhere she was. She said the same thing from the very first podcast all the way up to CNN because she just had a passion about it. She talked about her depression, how she got out of it, how learning to be still, even though she was a pastor's wife, how
Mhm.
she just realized that it wasn't just enough about prayer. She had to just do certain undergirding work in order to be, learning to be. And I mean, it was really, it was her life. I mean, for 3 years, it was like what she had did.
Yeah.
So you can usually tell when someone has that factor, that it factor. And you just, and basically as a publicist, you just kind of see them shine. It's like, yeah, they're going, they're doing it. It's a happy feeling. It's a happy feeling.
Oh, that's so good. You gave me chills when you said you got to have a calling and they draw you in. It's like,
Mhm,
oh, that's
mhm,
I
mhm.
love that. Yeah, that's so good. Now you have a program called Ready, Set, Go, Speak. If you go to ReadySetGoSpeak.com, people can check it out and learn more. So what would people expect from using a program like that?
It's like I'm their publicist in the pocket. So biweekly, I'm answering questions, but there's also a course in there that talks about how to build their brand. And
Hmm.
branding is important from the standpoint that in order to get media, you have to have a brand. You almost have to be like brand worthy, not just newsworthy, but brand worthy. So I talk about how to build a brand. It's 12 modules in that. Then there's a forum. Then every week they can talk to each other, talk to my program managers, and I give them media leads every week. And then there's a vault of all the information over my 20 years of working in media. Like there's templates for press releases, templates of media alerts, templates for fact sheets, things, bios, how to write a bio, because that's the first step. There's a photo shoot planner in there that they can give a photographer. So everything that they need is in the program. And then at their own speed, they can follow through on things. They can get media pitches. They can have, I show them how to pitch media because some people in there have been on like 30 podcasts already. And that's where they just really feel like instead of starting a podcast, they're going to go on podcasts. And they found that's a lot more easier than I teach them how to start a podcast if they want to, but then it sounds like, oh, that's another job, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are in it to really know how to navigate media, marketing, publicity, publishing, podcasting, all of those things. And then twice a week, bi-weekly, they can Zoom with me in the membership and ask any questions about anything. And they may say, I didn't hear back from this particular media. How do I reach them? And I said, what did you say? And they will say, I said this. I said, we'll try this. Reach out for them on LinkedIn, reach out via Twitter. What are you doing so that if you really feel that you should be on this media outlet, what are you doing? So I need to check them out and see what, just tweak it. Like I said, I'm their personal publicist, like in the pocket, so they can always ask me any questions. And I find that it's just the easiest way because PR is continual. It's continual. So unless you know the field, how are you going to ever learn it completely? So it's a membership where it's ongoing, where they can always call on their publicist to really help them, guide them in the right direction.
Yeah.
A lot of them,
Brilliant.
even to a lot of it is really helping expectations, right? Managing expectations. Like I wrote this book, I want to be on CNN. It's like, okay, let's see, let's level set this. Let's go here first. Let me see how you sound on your local, radio station. Let me hear how you sound here. And so when they do that, they realize that they're not as ready as they thought. And so there's work to do. So they go through the course, the brand accelerator. I have media in there as well. So my media friends that I trust and go to a lot, they tell them exactly in interviews what they're looking for. So it's
Nice.
not just coming from Pam, like Pam is always trying to hold me back. No, this is what they say that they're looking for. So you can't get on their shows or on their programs. They're from Fox, they're from ABC, they're from CBS affiliates. I
Yeah.
said, they are telling you exactly what they're looking for and how to pitch them. So that's insider secrets. Like, how do you pitch them? And
Yeah.
so within that group, they have those videos, they have the course, they have the forum where they help each other, they have me, they have my program, so it's like, I thought about this over the last 2 decades of my business. Like, I've had parts of this program, but I never had it in totality all in one.
Yeah.
So it was one point, especially with COVID that hit in 2020. I said, okay, now I have time to really build out the program the way I would want it if I was just starting out. What kind of things do I need? I need access to media contacts weekly. I need to know what they're looking for. I need templates. I need guides. I need resources. Everything. I need to talk to someone live because, like, am I doing this right?
Yeah.
And also, too, I give them incentives if they complete the work. So I
Yeah.
give them incentives as well because everybody likes incentives. So
yeah. Oh, it sounds like a complete program that you put together.
It took a while to get here. It took a while to get here, and it's only like $127 a month.
Wow.
And basically, it was so that the most people who really wanted, because of COVID, if they, like you said, speakers, a lot of things dried up. So for them, this is a way for them to really get everything in order so they can go out and start doing things. Now, if they want to hire me directly, they still can, but at least they have that foundation built up of what they need to do. And that's one of the main things. It's like, get your foundations together and get your website together.
Yeah.
And like, your website is whack. Let's work on that first. So it may take them 2 weeks or 3 weeks or maybe a month to get the website together. I said, okay, now let's move to this.
Yeah.
Let's get your bio together, because your bio sounds like an obituary. So let's work on that. So,
yeah.
And they don't know what they don't know. They don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I thought the bio. I said, no, it sounds like, such and such was born on such and such day. Or, I was like, we all are born. Okay, we get that. We get that you're born. So those are extra words. So we're going to take that out. And we're going to start with something exciting. And that's where the branding comes in, for them to understand what that means. So,
I mean, that's so good. I mean, as you were talking, I was just thinking about, yep, that's right. Nope. Yep. I've made those mistakes. And you're shortening timeframes, right? You're shaving decades of trial and error. And for the investment, oh my goodness. I mean, you can spend $5,000 or $10,000 a month with PR agencies. And so for you to give people access to all of that, for $127 a month, I mean,
they've got to do the work.
That's really good. Yeah.
Because a lot of times,
no matter what, even if you hire the PR agencies for $5,000 or $10,000, you're still having to do the work, most of it.
You really do. Because the clients, my private clients, they still have to do some work. They really do. Because a lot of them are thinking like, oh, well, can I just sit back? And it's like, no, we're going to have to do some media coaching. You're going to have to know how, you're going to have to read and listen to the podcast so you can understand the host. You're going to have to do this. And there's certain things that I know that they're going to have to do. And part of any publicist is really managing expectations, because they have seen, maybe movies or something where the publicist is just like, they have a magic wand, and the magic wand is like, oh, okay, just make me a star. It's like, no, there's some work behind that. It's not just that easy. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing that. So it takes some work. It really does. But it's not hard. It's just very, you just need guidance. And it's very simple. You just need guidance. I just feel anybody can really do this. They just need guidance. And a lot of times it's not about social media, because I'm talking about traditional media. It's not about social media, even though that's important. I said social media is just really that thing that drives, or is the proof that the media looks for. But that's not the main thing that's going to get you the results you want. Media will. Traditional media, newspapers, radio, television. Those are the favorites. Those are those are the credibility builders, because anybody can say whatever they want on their Instagram.
That's right. Yeah, that's how you position yourself and stand out. Wow. Pam Perry, that was amazing. All the advice and wisdom and insights and strategies and tips that you gave. And that sounds like an incredible coaching, mentoring program for PR. So if people really want to get their message out into the world, go to ReadySetGoSpeak.com. And then also check out Speakers Magazine, because it's a really great magazine. It has lots of high content or high value content and articles in there. And it's free. So you are a giver. You're a walking the talk, and showing up with wisdom and love. So Pam, thanks so much for being on the show and for being mesmerizing today.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Thank you. We are one belief away from wherever we need to be. And I read that earlier today about just joy. Really having joy in our heart is really our beliefs about what we think about, we bring about. And so I read that today and I was like, oh, it's good. Then I'm going to be on the podcast today, because I really do believe that. Right. So yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, everybody. So PamPerryPR.com is her traditional website. If you go to PamPerryPR.com and then check out ReadySetGoSpeak.com, all the links will be in our show notes. So if you are a speaker, an entrepreneur, an author, and you want to get that calling out, you want to get your message out in a bigger, brighter way, then reach out to Pam, because she's one of the best there is for helping you with your PR. So apply what you've learned today, share this with your writer friends, and make your life mesmerizing. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, everybody. Hey, it's Tim. You ever wonder why so many talented, hardworking entrepreneurs and business owners struggle with inconsistent self-belief, or high stress, or procrastination, or self-sabotage? Well, the answer may surprise you, and the solution is already inside of you. I've been searching for the answers to this for decades, and I found them, and I put it into a new program called The Power of Your Unconscious Mind, Mental Secrets for Accelerating Success. And because you're a listener, I want to give you a free VIP copy. Head over to PowerMindsetProgram.com. That's PowerMindsetProgram.com and grab your copy today.